Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, this is Redberryweo here, and welcome back to another Civil Air Patrol video. But today's video is actually going to be a little bit different. It's going to be going over one of my previous experiences as a cadet, and kind of going through some of the materials that I got when I went to Rcls. And so, I've got two things here. I've got a notebook and a binder, and I attended Rcls in 2013. So imagine a little Redberryweo. I was a cadet second lieutenant. I had just been rejected from being a cadet staff member at my wings and camp, and I was like, wow, I am not qualified to be a flight commander. They didn't accept me to staff. So what do I do about that? And that inspired me because I was like, well, clearly if I didn't get accepted, I need to work on my leadership. So I went to Rcls. So I went in summer of 2013, and oh boy, there are a lot of notes in here. So I'm just going to look through some of these things and kind of reminisce with you guys. I'm primarily going to go through my notebook here, and there's like a little slugger sticker because they fed us like those Cracker Jack boxes of like popcorn. I didn't eat it because I don't really eat caramel corn. But it was very interesting. So from what I remember when we did the activity, each day there would be like a flight commander and a flight sergeant. And even if you weren't an NCO, if you were like a more junior officer, you could potentially be the flight sergeant for that day. And so I was the first flight sergeant. And then there was this older cadet guy who was like much taller, much older than me. I think he was like 6 years older than, no, not 6 years. But he was waiting to get his lieutenant colonel, and in order to get lieutenant colonel, you have to attend an RCLS or a COS, which is a Regional Cadet Leadership School or a Cadet Officer School. And so he was attending that so that he could go after his lieutenant colonel grade, or his ACRE award. And so he was in charge of me and the flight that day, and I was like, I don't know what's happening, but I am overwhelmed. And it was very interesting because it was happening at the same time as another cadet activity, which was kind of weird and threw in a few twists and turns that I was not expecting, but it was an interesting activity. And so every day I would actually write who was in charge of the flight and who was in charge of the barracks. And so every day there would be a new barracks chief who would like go around and inspect. It wasn't an official inspection, it was just to make sure that people weren't being slobs and making everything gross and messy. But here on this next page, it was like the first lesson that we had, and they were like, be ruthless with time but gracious with people. I don't remember which senior member it was, but he was like a leadership training expert who was at the activity, and he did a phenomenal job of just teaching us really essential skills. And so something that I did throughout the activity, you can actually see my paper is yellowed. I just realized this. This notebook has been yellowed. Ugh. But anyway, so throughout the week, I kept a list of all the different tips and tricks that we would learn. And maybe I'll make this into a separate video of like the tips and tricks I learned from RCLS 8 years ago and I still use today. Yeah, I might do a video on that. I'm not going to spoil all these for you. Hopefully my camera isn't too high quality for you to see it. But one of the key things that we learned was repetition is the mother of learning. Repetition is the mother of learning. Repetition is the mother of learning. So, going on to the first day, we actually did like a bonding activity where we had to ask a lot of questions from a partner and then present who they are to the rest of the room, which was an interesting exercise because while I was okay with leadership skills and public speaking, I wasn't super comfortable with it. And I think they even gave us like a CD of our stuff, but I don't remember. Oh yeah, this is a fun thing. Oh yeah, we got something called a nap request, and I still have this. It's not an official form, but it was like jokingly it's called Cap Form 14Z, July 12th. Man, that's a throwback. That's a fun one. And it's like Sleepyhead's name, Sleepyhead duties position. Oh, And then this is the, I just found a little slip of paper. these are the Clifton Strength Finder exercise, like, test results. And some of mine, like, I actually took it recently for something that I'm doing for a graduate class. And so I was achiever, deliberative, competition, strategic, and learner. And I think now, what are mine? I don't remember. This is so cool. Like, they've slightly changed now. I think I'm more of, like, learner at the top and some of those other ones, but I'm not strategic in competition anymore. I don't know, but that's really cool. Okay, so we're gonna put those things back for now. That's so funny. Oh, I love this. This is fun. So let's keep going through my notebook here. So yeah, we had to like learn about another cadet. I was like, okay. I didn't really know her that well, but it was a good experience. Oh, this is taped shut. No. Oh, this is painful. Oh. Okay, so yeah, we took notes on that. And then the next page, I have the learning cycle, which is pretty interesting, which is you use the information, you learn it, you practice, you review, you use, you learn, you practice, review, and you just keep on going on that circle. And so there is a whole page of notes here that doesn't really make sense. It's like, it talks about confidentiality. It says, say what you mean what you say, eye contact, be engaged. These don't make sense. What was I even doing? I don't even know. But it also mentions the 20-80 rule, which means 20% of the class will answer 80% of the questions, which I think is an interesting thing that is pretty applicable. And then we talked about, the 16 different personality types. It's like not Yerkes Dodson. Wait, which one is it? It's the, what is it called? The Myers-Briggs Personality Inventory. Yeah, I was an ENFJ when I did this, and I'm like an ENTJ or an INTJ, depending on the day. And an interesting tidbit of information about the personality inventory is that it's not really a great tool to evaluate personality. It's something interesting, but it's not really specific to each individual person, because if you look at the normal curve, most people fall in the middle, right? And so people, depending on the day, they could shift from one to the other. So it's like only the people who are more extreme on the different ends will be consistent. And so if they take it multiple times in their lives, it's normally going to be more consistent. But people who are like on average within those different personality types, it's like they're just going to fluctuate depending on the day. Like some days they might be like more of an overachiever. Sometimes they may not be. These notes really don't make sense. I mean, it's just like a bunch of words that I wrote over everything. One interesting thing that I would like to share is that I have what went well and how might we improve right here in my notebook. This is a tool that I still actively use to this day, even as a CDC with my unit. And when we do debriefs, we do a debrief with the cadet staff after every meeting for 15 minutes where everyone goes around and says one thing that went well and then one area of how might we improve. And so I do that with them, and that is something that I still do because it's a really effective tool to kind of pick out trends throughout the meeting and be able to recognize the unit's strengths and things that could be further improved in future activities. So I think that's really cool. So let's see, what else is there? Yeah, this is like all over the place. I think it kind of aligns with the it aligns with the curriculum that they established at that point. I think right now they're currently updating the Rcls standards so that it's more in line with phase 3 and phase 4 concepts. A lot of them are stuff from phase 2, which is okay, but it doesn't further challenge cadets as much as like COS does, where they're a little bit more writing intensive and a little bit more rigorous in other activities as well. But mind you, you can choose which one you want to do if you want to pursue your ACRE. We talked about the development cycle. I think I was confused by that for a while, because I was like, well, C1 to S1, like what do all of these mean? I don't know. And then, reinforcing feedback. Feedback is definitely something that should be learned in phase 2. Also, like teaching methods of the you tell, you do, you tell, they do, they tell, you do teaching method. Like that's something that's in phase 2, I believe, and it's called the tell method. But yeah, looking through all of these concepts, pretty good. Pretty good. And then converging is closing the ideas down, and diverging is opening your mind to new ideas. No limitations. Components of communication. It's 38% nonverbal, 7% verbal, 55% paraverbal. It's not what you said, but it's how you said it. So like me emphasizing words in a specific way could be the paraverbal. That's interesting. And then the different leadership hats. These are all phase 2 stuff. Interesting. Or like the life of a team. But yeah, so I guess I did get a lot out of Rcls because it was a good activity for me to just better understand myself and better understand concepts of leadership and applying them, and not just reading through the Learn to Lead book and doing the tests. Now there's the Cadet interactive modules. I don't know a whole lot about them because I haven't been able to look at what a Cadet interactive module looks like. But something else that is really cool is that Mary Fike had visited the activity. And if you all don't know who Mary Fike is, an achievement was named after her. And so, unfortunately, she passed away, but I received a certificate from her when she was still going strong, visiting all these different CAP activities. And I think, like, at that time, she was the most recent name for an achievement that was added in. And so more recently, like, we have the Willa Brown achievement, for example, that recognizes people, all people, diverse people in Civil Air Patrol, outside of Civil Air Patrol, and their impact on aviation, STEM, and just the country in general. So, yeah, they put together a whole binder. It is so crazy. Like, someone put in a lot of time and effort putting this together. And I seem to remember that I didn't really write a whole lot in this binder. It was kind of used to be a tool to guide through conversations, but we didn't really write in it a lot. And that's okay. But I was just so impressed with how detail-oriented these people were. So impressed. Creativity for cadet leaders. Communication skills for cadet leaders. You know, this was a fun thing for me to do. I will go through those tips at some point, probably in a future video in the near future. Near future, I'm pretty sure. But I really enjoyed doing Rcls. I know, like in 2020 and part of 2021, cadets weren't really getting to attend summer activities. If you do have the opportunity, I do highly recommend considering attending those if you're comfortable with doing that. I got a lot out of them, like especially encampment. Encampment was a really good activity for me. And I did mention at the beginning of the video, I didn't get accepted to go to staff one year. And I was like, well, I'm a failure. It does not mean you are a failure by any means. I just do want to put that out there that I think it was a good learning lesson for me to take a step back and reflect on what do I need to work on and then try to make myself more competitive. So I came back 2 years later and I was a squadron commander. Yeah, it's cool, but that is all for this video, guys. If you do have any questions, just please feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you have attended Rcls and you've made it to the end of this video, what was your favorite memory from attending Rcls? And that could be from whatever point in your experience. If you were someone who went many years ago, I'm not going to say an X number, but, or if you even just went this past year, what was your experience like? And share your favorite memory. I would love to hear it. So that closes this video. Thank you so much for watching, and that is all, folks. Until next time, toodles.